Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today I'm going to be doing my 2025 NFL free agency predictions. We're going to be going over 35 NFL players that are free agents and where I have them going. Let's get into it. I'm excited for free agency starts today, later on at noon. Let's go over the biggest free agent. That's Sam Darnold. I mean, sure, there were bigger free agents that could have potentially be here that we'd be talking about, like Chiefs Trey Smith or Bengals T. Higgins. But due to those two guys getting franchise tagged, or you got a guy like for the Ravens, like Ronnie Stanley, who re-signed. So many other players have already re-signed. Due to that, there are not as many entertaining free agents on the board. But yeah, start off with Sam Darnold. Look, I think Sam Darnold could really end up anywhere. He could end up in Seattle. He could end up with the Giants, who knows? But I'd like to see him in Pittsburgh. I really would. With Metcalf and Pickens, I think it'd be great. We've heard the rumors about, Darnold potentially going to Pittsburgh. We've also heard Rodgers potentially to Pittsburgh, or potentially either one of Russ or Justin Fields back to Pittsburgh. I think it's not hard to, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to be successful no matter who's the QB when you're throwing the ball to DK Metcalf and George Pickens, especially if you're as successful as Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson have been in their career, or as good as Sam Darnold was last season playing with Addison and Jefferson, or just Justin Fields with what we saw last year at Pittsburgh, and you combine the arm talent he has throwing to guys like Metcalf and Pickens, and then combine that with Fields' running skill, that would be scary as well. So I feel like all the options you got on the table for the Jets, for the Steelers quarterback-wise, with Rodgers, Fields, Darnold, and Russ are solid options, but I think Darnold is the best. All right, number 2, Joey Bosa is pretty quick and obvious. It's the 49ers. He's gonna play with his brother, and he's going to sign with the 49ers. That's my guess. At 3, the third player I got is Khalil Mack. Going to the Chargers. Going back with the Chargers. Look, there's no way they get rid of Joey Bosa and let Khalil Mack walk. I mean, they cleared up a lot of cap space getting rid of Joey Bosa. I think a big reason why they did that is so they could re-sign Khalil Mack. He's going to be back with the Chargers. The fourth player I got, or Amari Cooper. I got him going to the Broncos. The Broncos could use a wide receiver to add next to, Courtland Sutton. Amari Cooper has been linked to the Broncos. I got Amari Cooper going to the Broncos. Okay, so next guy, you got Sam Darnold going to the Steelers. Here comes the quarterback carousel here. Where's Justin Fields going? I got Justin Fields going to the Jets. Then you got Aaron Rodgers, last year's Jets starter. Where is he going? I got him to go to the Vikings to play with, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and have maybe McCarthy sit for another season. And if Rodgers plays bad, McCarthy goes and becomes a starter. Next, Russell Wilson. I got him going to the New York Giants. There wouldn't be a lot of other options for Russ if Aaron's in Minnesota, and you got potential if you'd have Fields in New York and Darnold in Pittsburgh, and obviously Geno's already in Vegas. There wouldn't be a lot of options for Russ besides going to the Giants. I think that'd be a good fit. They need a quarterback. Brian Daboll's a good head coach. You're throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors. I mean, just as good as the wide receiver one he was throwing to last year, George Pickens, if not better. I think better. So, yeah, I got Russell Wilson going to the Giants. Next quarterback I got off the board is Daniel Jones. I got Daniel Jones going to the Colts. Daniel Jones is linked to the Colts. The Colts want to have a quarterback battle with Anthony Richardson and a quarterback they signed this offseason. I think that guy's going to be Daniel Jones. You don't want to make it too hard on Anthony Richardson. I honestly think Daniel Jones could win that competition. But we'll see what that quarterback competition between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson would look like in Indianapolis. All right, at 9, the ninth player, Marcus Mariota. I got him going to the Cleveland Browns. The reason why you're wondering why Marcus Mariota? Why talking about him? The Browns are going to sign a quarter. I think the Browns are going to sign a quarterback and draft a quarterback. They're going to sign a veteran. My prediction: Watson will be gone. They're going to sign a veteran, either Mariota or Carson Wentz, someone like that, and they're going to draft a quarterback. And you're going to see, draft a quarterback with a veteran. I think you're going to see either a guy like Carson Wentz or Marcus Mariota go and go to Cleveland and potentially be the bridge starter for whoever Cleveland were to draft in the draft. You're most likely looking at potentially that quarterback being Cam Ward, ending up in Cleveland, and then Marcus Mariota is the bridge starter for him. I thought Marcus was great last year working with Jaden Daniels. That's something that I think interests a team in bringing a guy in. Not only that, but Jaden Daniels, I mean, there was a game where he went down against Carolina and Marcus looked good and stepped up. I really do. I think that, I don't know how trustworthy he is a quarterback, but he looked good in the couple games he played. So I think that's one interesting thing to keep an eye out for. And, I think most important thing when you're drafting a quarterback and you want to sign, someone next to him, most likely you want it to be a veteran. Look, there are some guys that are on, available, but I look at guys and they've already played for the Cleveland Browns. Like, are you going to be able to convince like a veteran Jacoby Brissett or Joe Flacco to come back to Cleveland? Like Jameis Winston's another option, but he's just there. I don't think he's going to go back there. So two other options that are vets and would potentially be willing to come and play for the Browns and be a bridge starter, be a veteran leader. You got guys like Carson Wentz and Marcus Mariota. And I think if you're going to have one of those guys be a starter, you'd probably rather have Marcus Mariota be a starter. And also I would say Mariota's probably been a better mentor, at least recently with him working with Jaden Daniels this past season. All right. Here's the first move for the Patriots. I got the Patriots signing Stephon Diggs to pair him with Drake May. He's not coming back to the Texans, unfortunately, as a Texans fan saying that. I got the Bucs re-signing Chris Godwin. I got Keenan Allen re-signing with the Bears. I got Tyler Lockett joining the Raiders, teaming up with his former head coach, Pete Carroll, and his former quarterback, Geno Smith. At 14, I also got the Raiders making another move. 14th player, Najee Harris. I got him going to Las Vegas. And the Raiders need a running back. They got a lot of money to spend. I think Najee Harris is going to Las Vegas. Doesn't look like Pittsburgh's going to re-sign him. Jonathan Allen, I got him going to San Francisco. I think it's kind of obvious. I mean, they released Javon Hargrave and Malik Collins, two of their defensive tackles from last season. I think we already knew Jonathan Allen was his guy that they were interested in. I think Jonathan Allen is going to San Francisco. It was hard for me to predict a place for this guy, but Brandon Cooks, it doesn't look like he's going back to the Cowboys. Chargers could use a wide receiver, an extra wide receiver. I got him going to the Chargers. 17th player. Like I said, the Patriots got a lot of money to spend. Cam Robinson's probably the best left tackle that's available in free agency. And, Patriots could really use a left tackle. I think Cam Robinson would be a perfect fit for this Patriots team. All right. Evan Ingram was recently released by the Jags. He's a free agent. Broncos are one of the teams that are in the worst situation, the tight end position in the league. And I think they could really use a tight end. So you add in two new weapons in the offseason with Evan Ingram and Amari Cooper for Bo Nix. And look, Bo Nix had a good rookie year last year. Imagine adding him Evan Ingram and Amari Cooper for him, and I think he's already going to take a jump going from rookie year to second year. Then you add Cooper and Ingram for him. Travarius Ward, I got him going to the Eagles. I mean, I think it's the perfect fit. Darius Slay and James Bradbury release. I think Ward ends up in the Eagles. It's obvious he doesn't want to go back to the 49ers. I think a big reason why he suffered some loss in the city of San Francisco. I don't think he re-signs there. I got DeMarcus Lawrence re-signing the Cowboys. It's kind of obvious that he wants to go back there. I kind of just, kind of guessing with D-Hop here, but I'd like to see DeAndre Hopkins in a Patriots uniform. Patriots need some depth at the wide receiver position, and there's multiple connections between Hopkins and Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was the defensive coordinator with the Houston Texans when Hopkins was playing in Houston. And then when Vrabel was the head coach in Tennessee, he brought in DeAndre Hopkins. So he's brought in Hopkins before. I could see him doing it again. And look, it's not years and years ago where Hopkins and Diggs are two superstar players. I mean, I think Diggs can still be an amazing wide receiver, and there's nothing against Hopkins, but he's not as good as he once was. I think Diggs is a little bit higher up right now. I don't know if you really signed both Diggs and Hopkins. I'm not really so for sure on that. I just know there's connections with Mike Vrabel and Hopkins. They got a lot of money to spend. They need to at least add in a couple wide receivers in free agency. And so it's not like you're adding in two ones. I mean, I think Diggs right now, he can be a one for this Patriots offense, and Hopkins can be the two or the wide receiver three at this point. Wouldn't be that bad if they brought him in. All right, another addition for the Patriots. Patriots need a backup quarterback. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to re-sign. Jameis Winston's the perfect fit, and he'd be reunited with Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was working as an assistant last year in Cleveland when Jameis Winston was playing there. You know what kind of energy he brings to the locker room. If you're the Patriots, you're trying to have a bounce-back season. You want positive vibes in the locker room this season. Jameis Winston brings that. Not even about his skill of the game. It's about the positive energy he brings into the locker room. All right, Nick Chubb. I heard some rumors about the Chargers, and so I got the Chargers. If I were him, I wouldn't go back to the Browns. I don't know what happens with J.K. Dobbins this offseason, but I'd like to see Nick Chubb with the Chargers. I mean, look, what's the difference between Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins? They're two quarterbacks that have a, crazy injury past. Both of them had injuries last season. Maybe, Chubb wasn't as, maybe Chubb's injuries were way worse than Dobbins. But I think when both guys are healthy, I think Chubb is the better running back. Chargers fans, if you're listening, or any fans, who would you rather have in your offense, Nick Chubb or J.K. Dobbins? Because I'd go with Nick Chubb. All right, so that's why I got the Chargers signing Nick Chubb. So, all right, J.K. Dobbins, if Najee Harris is going to Las Vegas, Steelers need a running back, so J.K. Dobbins going to the Chargers. Sorry, J.K. Dobbins going to the Steelers, and then, running back carousel now. Javonte Williams probably leaving Denver. The Browns need to sign a couple running backs to replace Nick Chubb. I got Javonte Williams and Cam Akers both going to Cleveland. And then I got Rico Dowdle re-signing with the Cowboys. Broncos need a running back to replace Javonte Williams. Raheem Mostert was released by the Dolphins. I have Raheem Mostert signing in Denver. Yes, the Commanders just kind of going quick mode. Yes, the Commanders have filled their 1 and 2 spots at the wide receiver position with McLaurin and Samuel, but I got the Commanders re-signing both Noah Brown and Dami Brown, which would make things interesting because then you'd wonder where is Zacchaeus going then? Because Zacchaeus wouldn't re-sign with the Commanders if they have Debo and McLaurin and Noah and Dami. But then, Juwan Johnson is a free agent as well. Outside of the Broncos and the Giants, one team that needs to tight end very poorly is the Indianapolis Colts. I see him going. So I could see him go. Look, I really could see him go to the Broncos too, because Juwan Johnson has a connection with Sean Payton. I could see Johnson ended up as a Bronco. But if Russell Wilson were to potentially go to New York really needs a tight end. You'd want Russell Wilson having a solid tight end in his offense. Maybe Juwan Johnson ends up as a Giant, but I know the Colts need a tight end as well. I got Juwan Johnson going to the Colts. At 33rd player, which means after this, you got 2 players left. I got the Texans re-signing Sheldon Rankins, who was a part of their team in 2023. Then I got the Chiefs re-signing Justin Reed. And the final player released just yesterday, Zadarius Smith signing with the Eagles. most likely going to lose Josh Sweat in free agency. I got Zadarius Smith signing with the Eagles. So then the Eagles would add in Ward and Smith in free agency. Let me know your thoughts on my free agency predictions in the comment section, and peace out.